Hello there, and a very warm welcome to WorldWatchers TV. I'm Grace, and I'm absolutely delighted you've decided to join us today.
And I'm Hugh. It's wonderful to have you with us. Grace and I are genuinely excited to share something truly extraordinary with you today.
We're here to explore the world's most remarkable places together. And trust me, what we're about to discover will absolutely take your breath away. So settle in, make yourself comfortable, and let's embark on this incredible journey together. You know, Hugh, I've been thinking about this place we're covering today. Somewhere between the sky and the sea, there's this incredible place where time literally stands still. Like, picture this, a floating island that rises from the tides, wrapped in fog and legend. This is Mont-Saint-Michel, and honestly, it's being called the miracle of France for good reason.
Oh, wow, a miracle. That's not hyperbole, is it? You know what strikes me about Mont-Saint-Michel? Every year, millions of travelers make the journey to see this marvel. But here's the thing. Most of them have no idea about the incredible stories actually hidden in those ancient stones.
Right? And the location itself is it's almost unbelievable. So Mont-Saint-Michel sits off the coast of Normandy, about a kilometer from the mainland. But here's what's incredible. When the tide rises, it literally becomes a true island, like completely surrounded by these powerful waves that just isolate it from the world entirely.
And then, this is my favorite part, when the tide falls, a path literally appears across the sands. It's like watching the sea itself open a doorway to history. I mean, can you imagine standing there and seeing that happen twice a day?
That's incredible. And you know what? The legend behind it is just as dramatic. So this goes back to the year 708, and there's this bishop, Aubert of Avranches. Saint Michael the Archangel appears to him 3 times in dreams. Now, get this, the first 2 times, the bishop just dismisses these visions as ordinary dreams. But on the 3rd visit, Saint Michael literally presses his finger into Aubert's skull, leaving a permanent mark. The message was crystal clear. Build a sanctuary atop this rocky island dedicated to the warrior archangel himself.
Wait, he literally left a mark on his skull? That's intense. In that dream, that vision, it became this absolute masterpiece. A monastery rising toward heaven, built by human hands but inspired by divine vision? That's incredible. And Grace, what they went through to build this thing, it's mind-blowing. For over 5 centuries, from the 10th to the 16th century, countless builders, stonemasons, architects, they labored stone by stone. But think about this, they were working against impossible odds, racing against the tides, hauling these massive granite blocks across treacherous sands, constructing scaffolding that basically defied the laws of engineering. Each generation added their own vision to this growing marvel. It's like they were creating this vertical city that just seemed to grow organically from the living rock itself.
Wow. And you know what's beautiful about it? The abbey's walls are this incredible blend of Romanesque strength and Gothic elegance. And at the very top, there's this golden statue of Saint Michael, sword in hand, literally guarding the heavens. It's like they built their way to heaven. The Benedictine monks called Mont-Saint-Michel home and lived these lives of extraordinary devotion. Picture this, in the scriptorium, illuminated by flickering candles and ocean light filtering through these narrow windows, they're copying sacred texts by hand, their quills scratching across parchment as the tides rise and fall outside. It created this rhythm that synchronized earthly work with celestial purpose. It's almost poetic, isn't it?
It really is. And speaking of poetic, let me tell you about La Merveille. They literally call it the Marvel, this 3-story Gothic masterpiece built against the impossible slope of the northern face. It houses the refectory, where monks dined in complete silence, the Knights' Hall, where pilgrims were received, and this cloister where contemplation merged with the infinity of sky and sea. Every stone arch, every flying buttress, they defy gravity with this elegance that it whispers of divine engineering. How do you even do that?
I have no idea, but it's incredible. And below all of this architectural wonder, you've got these narrow, cobblestone streets winding through the medieval village. It's like time literally stopped hundreds of years ago down there.
And you know what's amazing? For centuries, pilgrims traveled from all across Europe to get there. From London, Paris, Rome, and even distant lands beyond that. They called themselves Michelots. Isn't that beautiful? Wearing cockle shells and carrying staffs, following these ancient routes that led to this sacred mountain rising from the sea. Some of them journeyed for months, sleeping under stars, crossing rivers and mountains, all for the chance to kneel before St. Michael and find redemption. Can you imagine that dedication? That's incredible dedication. And get this, we're not just talking about ordinary people. Kings and queens made their pilgrimages here too. Louis XI came seeking divine favor. Louis IX walked barefoot across the sands. Even Joan of Arc, before her legendary mission, prayed to St. Michael for guidance right here. Chronicles tell of miraculous healings, prisoners freed from chains, storms that literally parted before the faithful. The Abbey's guest halls echoed with prayers in dozens of languages. It's like humanity was gathering at this threshold between earth and eternity.
Speaking of history, when the 100 Years' War engulfed France, Mont-Saint-Michel became this impregnable fortress. English armies laid siege for decades, but you know what? The mount never fell. Its walls became thicker, its defenses more cunning. Cannonballs literally bounced harmlessly off the ancient stones. The English learned what the tides had always known. Some places are simply unconquerable. This abbey fortress stood as a beacon of French resistance, its bells ringing defiance across the contested lands of Normandy.
Unconquerable until the French Revolution. This is where the story gets really dark. This sacred place became Montelibre, the free mount. Revolutionary fervor transformed the holy sanctuary into a prison. The revolution's enemies were locked in cells where once monks had prayed. The abbey's bells, they melted them down for cannons. Its treasures were scattered, its very soul seemingly extinguished. For nearly a century, Mont-Saint-Michel languished as the Bastille of the sea, its walls echoing with the cries of political prisoners rather than hymns of praise. It's heartbreaking, honestly. It really is heartbreaking. But you know who saved it? Victor Hugo. The great writer, author of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He witnessed Mont-Saint-Michel's decay and wrote passionately about its impending destruction. He said, "Let us preserve our monuments. They are not the property of only age, but of all humanity." His words sparked this movement that would transform conservation in France. This romantic poet understood what bureaucrats couldn't, that some places hold the soul of civilization itself.
Thank goodness for Hugo. And then enters the real hero, Edouard Courreiller, the architect who spent decades bringing Mont-Saint-Michel back from the brink. From 1872 to 1888, 16 years, Courreiller studied every stone, every arch, every worn step. He peeled away centuries of prison modifications, revealing the original medieval splendor beneath. His meticulous drawings and photographs preserved details that time had nearly erased. Stone by painstaking stone, he rebuilt not just a monument, but a masterpiece. He returned the mount to its former glory while respecting its complex history. What a labor of love! 16 years of dedication, and today it really is this symbol of endurance, of faith that survived the storm, you know?
Absolutely. And speaking of surviving, the Bay of Mont-Saint-Michel itself is as treacherous as it is beautiful. Beneath those seemingly innocent sands, there are patches of deadly quicksand. They call them leases, that can literally swallow a person in minutes. Throughout history, pilgrims have just vanished without a trace, claimed by the bay's hidden perils. Local guides, the pasirs, they once led travelers safely across, reading these subtle signs that meant life or death. They knew which path the tide would take, where solid ground gave way to liquid trap. It's like nature's own maze of death.
And in winter, oh my gosh, when Atlantic storms last the Normandy coast, Mont-Saint-Michel becomes this fortress, literally besieged by nature itself. We're talking waves 20 feet high crashing against its ramparts, sending spray over the highest walls. The wind howls through the abbey's corridors like the voices of ancient spirits. Lightning illuminates that golden archangel atop the spire. And for these incredible moments, the entire Mont seems to glow against the black sky. It's like a beacon of defiance in nature's fury.
The tides of Mont-Saint-Michel are among the most dramatic in the world. We're talking rising and falling by as much as 15 meters. That's like 5 stories, creating one of nature's most spectacular theaters. Medieval chroniclers describe the incoming tide as moving as fast as a galloping horse, and they weren't exaggerating. These waters rush across the bay with almost supernatural speed, transforming a vast desert of sand into a churning sea in mere hours.
5 stories, that's insane. In just 6 hours, those calm sands transform into this roiling sea that swirls around the island with hypnotic power. Channels that were ankle-deep become torrents, and solid ground becomes this liquid maze. The Mount, which moments before stood connected to the mainland by causeway and sand, becomes a true island, isolated, majestic, and utterly alone in its watery kingdom. This twice-daily metamorphosis has hypnotized visitors for over 1,000 years.
Hidden within the Mount's stone embrace, there's this secret garden, a cloister suspended between earth and heaven. Here you have these delicate Gothic arches framing views of the infinite bay, while columns of pink granite support vaults that seem to float weightless overhead. In medieval times, monks walked these covered walkways in meditation, their footsteps echoing softly as they contemplated the divine geometry of creation itself. This garden in the sky, it's one of architecture's most profound achievements, a place where stone literally blooms into poetry.
That's beautiful. And the Abbey Church itself? It's this masterpiece of Romanesque and Gothic fusion. Its nave, supported by these massive Norman pillars, leads your eye inexorably upward toward the altar. Light filters through centuries-old windows, creating these pools of colored radiance that shift with the hours and seasons. The choir, rebuilt after a devastating fire, soars toward the heavens in pure Gothic splendor. Every stone tells a story, every arch frames a prayer, every shadow holds 1,000 years of whispered devotions. It's like walking through history itself.
And you know what people say? On misty nights, the bells of the abbey echo across the water, and the spirits of ancient pilgrims return to walk the causeway once more. I get chills just thinking about it.
Me too. Maybe it's not just a monument, you know? Maybe it's actually a bridge between heaven and earth.
I think you're right. Mont-Saint-Michel is more than just a destination. It's like a meditation on what's possible. Here, human ambition literally reached toward the divine and actually touched it. This is what happens when faith meets stone, when vision meets reality, when the impossible becomes inevitable. It stands as proof that our greatest achievements, they don't come from conquering nature, but from dancing with it, from finding harmony between human dreams and natural forces.
So next time you see a place that takes your breath away, remember Mont-Saint-Michel. Remember that somewhere in the tides of time, there are still places where the impossible lives, where stones can literally sing hymns, where human hands can build staircases to eternity.
In our age of digital wonder, this ancient marvel reminds us that the most profound technologies are often the simplest. Faith, stone, and an unshakable belief that heaven and earth can meet.
Exactly. Mont-Saint-Michel stands as eternal proof that human dreams, when touched by divine inspiration and tempered by centuries of dedication, can literally transcend time itself.
Mont-Saint-Michel, where the impossible becomes eternal and dreams become stone. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.